Hello students, welcome back to my class. Today we are going to analyze one of the sonnets from the romantic poet William Wordsworth. As you know, William Wordsworth was one of the most significant poets of romantic era, and he was almost single-handedly responsible for bringing the spirit of nature into English poetry in a very comprehensive manner. His poetry always presents the harmony between man and nature, the nature within and outside man, and within nature he envisaged the whole mystery of the universe, where nature became his friend, philosopher, and guide. But this sonnet, which is written in a Petrarchan mode, it was composed in 1802 when he was moving towards Paris with his sister Dorothy, and this poem was published in 1807 in the volume Poems. The sonnet bears great significance because it is a rare occasion within the poetry of Wordsworth when he is highly appreciating the splendor, majesty, and beauty of the city landscape or the cityscape, that is of London. So, this poem, which was composed on Westminister Bridge or the famous London Bridge, how it mesmerized the poet who all his life was spending within the nature in the Lake District of England, and he was also a great admirer of that beauty of nature. So, this is a significant part of Wordsworth's life and career when he was moving towards certain relationships, certain transitions in his life, where he was trying to strike balance between many dichotomies. So, this poem is also presenting a lot of dichotomies, and through that, how the harmony is coming out, that is the beauty of this sonnet. The sonnet is written in very simple language, but at the same time, it is brilliantly beautiful. Earth has not anything to show more fair, dull would be he of soul who could pass by. So, the poet immediately is using the inversion to show that nothing more could be fairer than London in the very early morning. It is very early morning when the London city is asleep, when the London city is in its passivity. It is not the city of hustling, bustling, madding crowd. Rather, it is a city in sound sleep. So, earth has not anything to show more fair, dull would he be of soul who could pass by. So if anybody is passing by this beautiful landscape without appreciating its splendor, without appreciating its grandeur, then his soul must be very dull. That is the conviction of the poet. A sight so touching in its majesty. So he is appreciating the London city for its majesty. Where is the majesty? The majesty is in the man-made structures. The big structures, the big monuments of London are fascinating the imagination of Wordsworth, the poet of nature. He is overwhelmed by the majesty and he is telling it is touching in its majesty. So majesty is an appreciation of something grand, grandeur, but at the same time it is also touching, becoming intimate, becoming personal. This city now doth like a garment wear, the beauty of the morning silent bear. The beauty of the morning is lying where? In the silence. There is silence, silent and bare. Here it is a personification as if London city is a human being who is in the deep slumber. In its bare body, everything is open, visible, and everything is silent. The silence and bare, they are immediately revealing the nature of the city, that the city in general, in its normal time, is full of din and bustle, and it is full of the crowd. But now it is bare, now it is silent. So the beauty of it, the majesty of it is emerging. The beauty of morning silent bare, ships, towers, domes, theatres, and temples lie. So he is able to appreciate the ships in the river Thames, the towers, the Big Ben and others, domes, theatres, and temples. They lie open unto the fields. They are now standing by themselves. Open to the fields means as if they have melted into the fields. They are inseparable from the horizon. The horizon and these structures, the man-made structure and the nature, the land, the river, as if they have melted into each other, as if they are existing in a seamless existence, because there is no human interference now, and that the poet is appreciating. Open unto the fields and to the sky, the river, the earth, the structures, they're all melting into each other. They're coexisting in such a manner as if they're creating a sense of the myriad beauties, the myriad beauty of nature. All bright and glittering in the smokeless air. Again, he is using the irony that all bright and glittering, everything is bright, everything is glittering in the morning light, the early morning light, the light of the dawn is making all these man-made monuments, man-made structures glitter to declare their aesthetic shapes in the backdrop of horizon, in the backdrop of the sky or the river, and in the smokeless air. The poet is somewhere being reminded that the same thing won't be visible in the daytime when there will be smokes coming out from each and every house, coming out from the ships, the factories, and the air will no more be crystal clear. So, in this early morning clear air, each and every part of London is very distinct, very glittering, very splendorous, and the whole city looks majestic. Never did sun more beautifully stiff in his vast splendor, valley, rock, or hill. And the poet is also able to find out the rising sun in the early morning from the horizon of London. Never did sun more beautifully stiff. And he is finding this sunrise as a very special one because he had seen many sunrises in the midst of nature. But this sunrise in the horizon of London city is very special to him, is very attractive to him. It is rising behind the structures, but it is rising very steadily, as if it is very free now that the smokes are not there, the sounds are not there. So the sun seems to be very free in its spirit, and it is rising in his vast splendor, valley, rock, or hill, and it is reflecting its bright light on the valley, on the rock, or the hill, and creating a beautiful splendor of inter-reflected light. The sunlight is getting reflected and re-reflected within the river, the structures, the sky, the hills, and together it is creating a mesmerizing scenario for the poet. So, he is telling in his past splendor, valley, rocks, or hill, never saw I have never come across such a beautiful vision of the sunlight, such a beautiful play of the sunlight, intermingling, traveling, and moving forward and backward, reflecting and re-reflecting in such a complex maze, in such a complex manner to create the splendorous brightness. I never felt a calm so deep, and never in life also I felt the calm so deep. Because the poet always felt the calmness of nature in the open. But here, against the backdrop of the city, where every one of us, we expect the sounds, there is no sound. Therefore, it becomes more calm. Therefore, he is telling it is a calm so deep I have come across for the first time in my life. Because here in this city, I never expected such calmness. The river glideth at his own sweet will. River Thames, which is crossed and recrossed, its surface is always being troubled by so many ships throughout the day. and by the sounds of the passengers, sounds of the people and machines, is now gliding at his own sweet will. It is not disturbed. It is moving with its own free will. Its current is not being disturbed by the movement of the ships. Dear God, the very houses seem asleep. And then the poet is very much thankful to the God that such a vision he was able to see. And at the same time, he is moving his eyesight all over the London city and its houses, and he's exclaiming, the very houses seem asleep, as if not only the human beings in the house, within the house, but as if the houses are also asleep. Why? Because there is no trace of the smokes coming out of the houses. No sounds are escaping, no smokes are escaping, no human beings or machines are escaping from any house. So the house seems to fall asleep, and all that mighty heart is lying still. And all that mighty heart. So who is this mighty heart? The mighty heart is the heart of London, but it is the heart of the man. The man is having a mighty heart. Romanticism glorifies man. Man is at the center of the universal structure in romantic perception. Man is able to move everything. So this man who is now asleep within the house, and for that everything becomes so calm, so serene, so clear, so silent. But when he will wake up, he will completely transform, he will completely change this city of London into a hustling, bustling, crowding place. So, he is also paying his tribute to the man. All that mighty heart is lying still. That heart, that man is now lying still. When it will wake up, it will again fill this whole air with sound, smoke, and so many things. So, in this way, the poet is paying his tribute to London city, and he is also trying to bring the city life and the life in open nature together by blending them seamlessly, blending them in a very smooth manner, and at the same time also suggesting the difference between when the man is awakened, when the man is active, interfering with the nature, and when the same man is lying asleep, is withdrawing from the nature for a temporary period. So, this is a beautiful sonnet which is highlighting the majesty, the grandeur of the man-made structures, the city, as well as the nature within it. So, from this, questions can be asked, maybe for appreciating this poem as a sonnet, or question can be asked about that how Wordsworth finds the difference between human activities in the daytime London and the early morning London when humanity is asleep. So, I hope you will be able to do justice to the answers, and the sonnet is using personification, inversion, similes, metaphors. So these figures of speech also can be asked as short questions, and hope you will be uh, able to answer all the queries that will be before you. Thank you.